Hello. So I am 19 weeks plus one. Wanted to share a little bit of an update over the last 2 weeks, I guess, since I last shared a little update. Nothing big and crazy. I had an ultrasound last Friday. Got to check on everybody. They're growing really well. Grant did not come with me to that one just because it was a really basic regular one. He's going to come to the critical appointments moving forward. So, like the anatomy scan we have next week, and then our fetal echocardiogram. Figured coming to every single appointment might be hard, and we need to save up some of his time off. So yeah, week 19 really is starting to feel big. Very limited on what I can do. It's really hard to bend over. There's just a lot of babies in the way. It's also my maternity clothes, the belly band or the belly piece is already kind of coming up. You can kind of see like it's here when it used to be up here. So the belly is definitely big. Um, but sitting for a long period of time is starting to hurt. I actually have this really cool wedge pillow that one of my favorite Instagram friends, it's a real friend now. This is called the Hiccapop. So I'll try to link this in the description, but I'm sitting on it. It's really helping. I figured out that I have pelvic girdle pain thanks to Google. And really what happens is just your uterus is big and heavy, and the ligaments around your hips start to kind of get sore. So if I sit too long and then stand up, I have a lot of pain like in like my lower belly area, and my lower back for sure. So sitting on the wedge has been really helpful. I sit here all day long for work, and try to get up in between calls and things like that. But really, that's been the biggest kind of cause of discomfort lately. I feel like I didn't have it with my first pregnancy, probably because I did prenatal yoga every week really consistently. Um, but this time I've been a little less than active. I also have three babies instead of one. So I'm working on getting a little more active. Took a walk yesterday. Walking kind of aggravates it a little bit, so I'm going to do more stretching than walking. Found a couple of really good YouTube videos as well from physiotherapists that shared some stretches. So I'm certainly going to do some of that. I think that's really going to help. Um, Also realizing that being pregnant for the second time with an older kiddo is very hard. Chasing after him, doing all the normal mom things. And really, this week has been me realizing I have limitations and it stinks. I'm a very self sufficient person. I want to do laundry when I want to do it. I want to put my clothes away. I want to be able to do things around the house. I can't even lean over to get the dog food, the dog fed. So thankfully, I have an amazing husband that's taking up the slack. And I mean, he already cooks all of our meals. I can't barely unload the dishwasher, so that's now his full time job, getting all of that kind of stuff done. So it's been challenging just to kind of let go a little bit and realize I have to slow down. I would say last week is really when things started being a little hard. And it's forcing me to slow down. I also went to Target and Costco wearing two masks. That's my rule. We got those N95 masks, and I'm wearing that under another mask. So the only way I can go out is if I have one of those on, and if I promise to only stay in the store for 30 minutes. Um, so I went to Target, walked around exhausted. Like I got in the car and I was like, I can't do this. Went to Costco, walked around, had to pee twice. And so I'm just slowly realizing that I have to slow down. Also, the other day, we picked up Garrett from school early. I wanted to take him to the park because it was really nice. It was 60 degrees. Walked to the park, which is 6 minute walk. Got there, had to pee. Was really sore. Was using a belly band, which I think I'll also link here because I love it. But was just tired, and standing and all that kind of activity really got to me. So I ended up calling my mom, and she picked me up and brought us home just because it was a lot easier and got us home faster. So I would definitely say that 18, 19-week period of time is when you actually need to slow down, ask for help. It's also getting hungrier. I was always kind of hungry. That hasn't, I mean, I was pretty nauseous the first trimester, but I always want a snack and I can tell exactly when it's time. I usually have breakfast at 8. I have like a snack at 10:30, which is usually a protein shake, a Premier protein shake. And then I'll eat lunch hopefully around 12. Work sometimes doesn't let that happen. Grant again brings me lunch a lot of times because I'm on phone calls back to back. And then I'll have another snack around 3 and then eat dinner like 6:37 ish. And then have another snack before bed. And so finding that I'm just really hungry. There's a lot. I just want to eat, 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 which I guess is a good thing. I'm slowly starting to gain some weight. I hadn't gained anything until maybe 2 weeks ago. And at this point, I'm just up maybe 5 pounds. I'm not even getting on the scale. I'm barely even opening the pregnancy apps this time around. It's really interesting to just see the difference from my first pregnancy when I read every book was, following along by week that I was with the weeks in the chapter, the time frame in the book. And now I'm just like surviving. I do still follow a couple of pages, some YouTube channels of families that have triplets. And I can actually try to link one of my favorites down below of somebody that does a great job documenting. And I go and watch her videos about a week ahead of when I'm going to be hitting that time frame. And that's been really helpful just to kind of know what to expect. But lately, I've been looking at channels of people that have had loss, which is probably not what normal people would do. But for me, I kind of want to know what the risks are and what I'm looking ahead to if there is something that could go wrong. So I'm the kind of person that wants to know all the potential things that could happen. And so that if it does happen, I'm prepared, but it doesn't freak me out. Like reading about somebody's water rupturing early doesn't make me sit there thinking, oh gosh, is that going to happen to me? It's more of, well, if that happens, I know what to do. I know how to, work through it. So it's been really helpful. What else? I would say things that I'm eating lately to make sure I'm getting the nutrition I need. I have like a turkey sausage English muffin, one of those frozen Jimmy Dean light sandwiches every morning for breakfast just because it's easy. And then that snack is usually a protein shake. I really like the Premier Protein. They sell it at Costco, so you can get a big box of it. I like the apple cinnamon oat one. That's pretty good. And then I do drink the coffee flavored one every now and then. I don't do it every day because caffeine sometimes can get me all anxious and riled up. So I try to have one of those every few days. Lunches are harder. Today I had just like an Asian noodle bowl. It was like a frozen noodle bowl we got from Costco, and Grant added some steak to it. Chicken salad's been really good, so that's another one. Spaghetti with just some marinara sauce, very light on the marinara sauce, and some mushrooms always sounds good. Um, let's see. My afternoon snack usually is an apple with some almond butter. So Garrett is allergic to peanut butter, so we've never really kept that in the house. So almond butter has been a good go-to, and it's actually really tasty. I feel like fresh fruit has been one of my cravings, or dried mango, like any kind of straight up fruit. Apricots, things like that have been really good. Um, and then I'm trying to think. Sometimes I'll have a protein shake around 3, or sometimes I'll do the apple with some of the almond butter. And then for dinner, it's kind of been all over the place. I can't really eat a lot if Grant's cooking. The smells still really get to me. So if he cooks anything with chicken, I'm like totally not interested. Excuse me. We had to go cheeseburgers last night, and I got a little chicken patty with no bun. I just have never really liked buns. We get Asian noodle bowls sometimes with a little bit of steak cooked on it. And then it's like a vermicelli noodle bowl with some lettuce and carrots and spring roll cut up on it. So that's pretty good. Really mild types of foods have been really appealing. Steak, we had steak dinner the other night. So really just trying to be basic, but even some of the most basic foods, like you'd think chicken would be fine, but not interested. And then I have a sweet tooth. I think I had that with Garrett. Twizzlers are my thing. I have 2 Twizzlers pretty much every night. And that kind of helps that. But I'd really try the fruit. Like I think I've mentioned before, I do granola, Greek yogurt, a little bit of honey, and then strawberries, raspberries, and blueberries. And that's my like 8:30, 9 o'clock snack. And then I'm usually up and in bed by like quarter to 10. So that's really been helpful, making sure I've been eating well. Next up, I've got our anatomy scan next week. That hopefully will be good. So far, we haven't had really any indications that there's anything going on. I'm feeling lots of kicks. Somebody just kicked me while I was talking. Uh, feel them kind of rolling. I would say is the feeling of having three babies in there. Grant can certainly feel. Baby C is up on top. She's like right here, so I feel her the most. And then B and A are down closer to my cervix. Um, sleeping hasn't been horrible. I definitely wake up a few times, crazy nightmares or, just dreams. Really, really vivid has been a really big thing. I have two different pregnancy pillows that I rotate. One is like a U shape or kind of like a rectangle, half rectangle with the bottom open that I kind of just like lay in. And then I have the normal C shaped one. It's actually called a snoogle that I had from my first pregnancy, but that one's a little beat up. It's not as fluffy, so I've been kind of going back and forth between the two. Um, but yeah, I mean, maternity clothes are a little snug. I'm gonna size up on shirts. I've been a medium this whole time, and I'm gonna start probably getting some large shirts. I can just tell. My boobs are definitely bigger than they were with Garrett. I was heavier when I got pregnant this time around anyway, so I'm a little bigger. But thankfully, I've been able to wear a lot of the same shirts that I wore with my first pregnancy, although it's flopped a little bit. So Garrett was born in February, so I was really pregnant most of the time in winter, which has been helpful. Most of this time will be in the cold weather too. But that's really the big stuff. I mean, Garrett's birthday was last weekend, so we had a lot of fun. Very COVID safe. We saw some friends outside, had a little bit of play date. And then just our parents came over that are in our pod that are really safely quarantining and being really respectful of us. And, everybody's trying to stay away from the virus, but especially with me being pregnant, we're just being extra careful and not seeing anybody outside of our little pod. Really, that's all that's been going on. Hopefully, we'll have more exciting updates in the future. I just feel like every 2 weeks, it's pretty much the same thing, growing and being a little bit sore. But again, I'll link some of those things I mentioned: the wedge pillow, the belly band, and then the family that I follow that has three little boy triplets. That's just been really helpful. So I'll link to that. So happy to have a handful of people following along on our journey. Of course, this is probably something people will look back on, if they're, pregnant, probably not aligned with the same time I am, but everybody that I have found to follow usually has babies that are one or two, and they just happen to document this before. So it's been hard for me to find a family that has a child already with the triplets. So hopefully I'm able to kind of share some of that perspective, being a mom and pregnant with triplets and having to kind of do all these different roles. But yeah, so happy to share a little bit more. And I will probably share after our 20-week anatomy scan next week and how that went and how long that appointment it will be, because I'm sure we'll be in that ultrasound room for a long time. But thank you for watching. Appreciate everybody that's tuning in, and it's kind of fun to be able to share this adventure with you guys. Bye.